Today I'm going to talk about why interdependence is an important concept to understand if you are in the process of developing healthy boundaries. So often when we don't have great boundaries, we really focus on what we need to do to keep other people away. But actually, boundaries are also about being close to people, right? And as human beings, we are tied to one another. We are very, very interdependent. It doesn't mean we are dependent or completely independent. We are interdependent. For example, at this very moment, I am sitting in a chair that was made by a company and a factory and people who worked on that chair. I am speaking into a microphone, being recorded on my computer. Everything surrounding me at the moment was created, it was designed, it was actually built by many, 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 many other human beings. When we eat a meal, it's just amazing sometimes to really think about how many people around the world contributed to the meal you're eating. Our connection to other humans is a wonderful, beautiful thing. So how do we keep that in mind and then also have healthy boundaries? All of us humans have mirror neurons and we all have empathy. Obviously, there's a wide range in terms of how much people feel empathy and have developed their skills in empathy, right? There's a very wide range. But the vast majority of people do have empathy, which means that we do feel what other people are feeling. We do pick up on other emotions. And then there are some of us who are highly, highly tuned into other people's emotions. We have amazing skill at picking up what other people are feeling, even if they're hiding it, right? And there's a term right now for that called an empath. So empaths may be highly, highly empathetic people, but these are normal, natural, both traits and skills for humans. And empathy is actually one reason that we have survived as a species, right? We are pretty much almost hairless, fangless, right? We don't have fangs, we don't have claws, yet we've survived through cooperation. And I know a lot of people right now are not feeling this in the world. They're feeling the opposite. But if you really think about this, it's true. So what does that mean for you and your personal boundaries? So one thing to keep in mind, if you have a high amount of empathy, is that yes, you might pick up on other people's feelings. You have empathy, and that is a beautiful, wonderful thing. And perhaps developing a little more empathy for yourself could be helpful, or developing slightly stronger boundaries around how much you let yourself feel what others are feeling, and then also what you do about it. So highly empathetic people often need to really pull back on taking responsibility for emotions, because the only one who's really responsible for my emotions and my responses to things is myself. And knowing that other people are responsible for their responses and the emotional response that they have to situations, that's their responsibility. So understanding interdependence actually helps, because it's like, yeah, okay, we're interdependent, and I'm pretty much the only one right now who can take care of my basic needs, right? Most other adults, it's their job to take care of their basic needs. And I'm really the only one who can truly manage my own emotions, right? And others are best equipped to manage their emotions. And again, this doesn't mean we don't influence each other, that we don't have an impact, because of course we do. But whose responsibility is it is at the core. And another thing to remember about interdependence is that if I take care of myself, I'm actually helping others, right? So if I'm taking care of myself, I can make these videos and I can spread them around the world. And I hear from a lot of people that they're helping, which really pleases me, right? Which is also part of that interdependence. People's response to what I put out in the world then is reinforcing, encourages me to keep going. But if I'm not taking care of myself, I'll burn out. I won't be able to interact with the world in the way that best utilizes my skills, right? And the same thing goes for your family. So a little bit of that concept of the oxygen mask, right? That you put it on yourself first and then you help your family members or children or an elderly person who can't do it. But if you don't put it on yourself, you won't be able to help anybody. So the concept of interdependence helps us remember that. And another thing that interdependence helps me remember is that my actions have a cause and effect. So if I do jump in and take care of other people's problems, that will have an effect of developing a pattern that I'm the one to jump in to solve the problem, and it actually robs the other person of an opportunity. And again, there's gray areas here, right? Like there's helping when asked, there's like assisting, there's gentle ways we can influence or whatever, but not to take it on as my job. And if I'm able to set boundaries in sort of a calm and confident way, that has an impact on the people around me as well, right? Whereas if I don't set boundaries, right, I don't set them at all, and then I explode, I'm not setting them in a healthy way. I'm definitely having an impact on those around me. And probably down the line, an impact on me as well, because it changes how people relate to us. So being able to be assertive about boundaries but not aggressive has, ripple effects, has many, many, many effects, both for ourselves and for other people. And then lastly, interdependence reminds me that sometimes, yes, I do have to sacrifice to help a loved one or to take care of someone who is ill or an infant, right? We do sometimes have to sacrifice some of our own needs, hopefully not too many of them, but some of them to care for somebody else. But hopefully we are not often sacrificing our needs for somebody else's wants, right? That's really where the boundaries cross over. But we are interdependent. We do have caring, loving relationships, right? And sometimes it is appropriate to go out of my way for somebody. But maintaining that sense of self-compassion and self-empathy, right? Because I am also part of this interdependent dynamic. So this is a little bit complicated, but boundaries are actually a fairly complicated topic. And we don't want to develop boundaries that are like so strong and rigid that we live in silos. If you do feel that you could use some extra assistance developing healthy boundaries and really, really understanding them on a deep level and how they can lead to more loving relationships, closer relationships in some situations, and definitely a closer relationship with yourself. So if you feel that some additional support would be helpful, I am launching a new program September 2022. I will link the information in the description below. I'll show a picture of it here. Check out the program. I think that this will transform not just your view of boundaries, but your ability to move forward in the world, achieve your potential, and have a more joyful life. I do think healthy boundaries are one of the pillars of joy. And I'm very curious what you think of this topic of interdependence and boundaries. So do me a favor, comment below. If you like this video, please do give it a thumbs up. And if you're new to my channel, please subscribe. That's also part of that reinforcement, right? That interdependent reinforcement. All right, I hope you found this useful, and I will see you next week.